Good morning and welcome to the Cherilyn Lee Health Show with your host, Dr. Cherilyn Lee. I want to thank you so much for being here today. We have a wonderful, wonderful show for you, and we're just going to have fun with this because there's so many levels of healing. And one level of healing and just kind of knowing what's going on with you and maybe why you have the name that you have. Because everything that's in your name, there's a purpose and there's a reason. We have a wonderful guest today, Miss Penny Rich. And I love that, Penny Rich. And we have to talk about, Miss Rich, how you came up with that name, Penny Rich. And our topic is numeral, neurolo-
Numerical.
numerical. What am I? I'm so excited. Numerical psychology.
Yes.
Numerical psychology is and so we just kind of jump in. But before we do that, Miss Penny Rich, a penny being rich, that's pretty good. People need to look at that. How did you come up with your name, Penny Rich? And let's go about a little of your background of who you are, because I've been
Well,
knowing you for
thanks.
years, and you are fabulous.
First of all, thank you for inviting me to do the show. This is about the fourth time I've done a radio show, and I'm just excited that it's now internet. So to define numerical psychology, first to define my name, it happened that I was finding pennies every time we went to a phone booth. And I'd always reach down, and as I would reach down, I would say, I'm going to be penny rich, because I would find 3, 4, 5 pennies in the course of a day. Now, numerical psychology is a mind and behavior study. As a master numerologist, I combine the profound science of numbers with intuitive insight for a well-rounded application of scientific healing.
Well, that is really, and let's break down to numerology. Being a numerologist, let's break down numerology so our listening audience will understand what is a numerologist.
A numerologist, especially a master numerologist as I am, can take your name that you were given at birth precisely as it was spelled, along with your birth date, and from that I can tell you at least 9 of the things that God has intended for mankind to learn and live by. And it's
Why?
found in the whole composition of your name and birth date.
And I like that. Numerical psychology. So, how did you get into this again?
Well, it was a rather unusual acquisition, Dr. Lee. From May of 1985 and for 7 years that followed, I was taught the divine significance of numbers and how they affect our lives and determine the outcome of life's purpose as a foundation to support all the experiences that help man to evolve. It was under the personal tutelage of a living human archangel who identified himself as the incarnate spirit of Pythagoras, the father of numbers, during the 6th century, about 52 BC, whose theory was of the premise that nothing in the universe could exist without the proper power of numbers. Therefore, anything that has a name has a corresponding value of specific vibrations, whether it is an animate or inanimate object. Nothing on this plane is without a name and defines its purpose and a calculated interpretation within those letters that determine your entire makeup, your personality, your humanistic traits. Will I ever find a husband? All of those.
It's amazing. I know you worked with someone very special to me years and years ago. And it was amazing because this person was under so much stress. And after you actually did her numerical chart and went through her life journey, it was just amazing how it helped her to see that if she didn't make changes in some things she was doing in her life and her lifestyle, how it was going to affect her down the line. And I know this person quite well, and I kept telling them, this is what you need to do. But until she actually saw it in black and white, because you sat there in front of her and just showed her everything. And when she made those changes, you never knew she had a development of an ulcer. And after
Oh.
you went through this with her and she saw, okay, if I don't make these changes and not let people just feel like they could just tell me anything and upset her, she took everything to heart. She didn't know how to let people know how she felt.
Mhm.
And
I
after you had this session with her, she became a new person. To the
I
point
remember that.
yeah, to the point they said, "What happened to her? Why did she change? She's not the same nice person." I said, "No, you guys were bullying her and getting away with it, and she was just buying into everything." And when she finally put her foot down and said, "No, this isn't correct. I'm not going to take this. I'm not going to stand for this, and let's do it the correct way." I'm telling you, her stomach condition healed. She had no more problems with her stomach, and she moved forward in a very fast way to become the person she is today.
Well, she became a nicer package of herself. She was able to find out what her weaknesses and strengths were and understand that she was a divine spirit in the name of God, under the tutelage of God. Oh, we all are.
Most definitely, we are. And what you're doing, and how does the numbers affect our lives?
Well, the primary function of numerology is to identify the urge of the soul, our quiet self, which represents how we see ourselves, while our total expression, which is the number of your letters and in your name, defines how others see us. And our date of birth is no accident, as it identifies career opportunities of personal choice based on past life experiences that are eternal with man's spirit. Man can never lose anything of value that enhances his worldly achievements, even if he becomes a lawyer at 98 years old and passes away the next week. He has a chance to come back, and as he begins to talk, he says, "When I grow up, I want to be a lawyer." That's what he has left in his spirit.
Amazing. Um, and I just want to say that, I know, have known you for years and you do so many things. This is just one, but definitely a master. And you have written a book, right?
Yes, this
Hmm.
book, one of them is on numerology. It's called Children Owe Karma Too. And that book will help you after you have identified this person's name and had it registered. It is then that I would come through and tell you what that name means and what that child needs to learn, what his weaknesses are, and what his strengths are.
My, my. Well, I have learned a lot even about myself and having my chart done on several occasions.
Hmm.
And basically, after having it done one time, we know certain aspects. It's not going to change. My name
That's
isn't
right.
going to change. My birth date is not going to change.
Yeah.
So a lot of those things continue to be the same.
They
And
will. Even if you change your name, it doesn't change who you were born with, the name or the passport that God gave you,
and
your
it's
name.
amazing.
Hmm.
And I could feel, a lot of that within uh, my life journey
Hmm.
when we did my chart, which has been quite amazing. It's been such an amazing journey that I have a number one bestseller book coming out on that journey.
Yes.
So it's just been an amazing life journey.
Well, that
Um,
means it probably means that you had a lacking of creative expression. So therefore, that's going to become your karmic obligation to fulfill. So you express yourself through creative writing. So that pays off that karma.
okay. Now, what about, there's a lot of people who don't believe in reincarnation. So before we get into some other questions, can we kind of discuss reincarnation?
Well, number one, it's not re. It is just incarnate.
Incarnation. Okay.
God
Very good.
became an incarnate spirit. And the theory, which I hold as a spirit of truth, of all life is that we, each and every one of us, came from the eternal God, that we are all part of the God force that sustains us, accepting, of course, that we have all lived many, many times before, other lives in the past, and most of us will live again many times in the future of our time and space existence, so that our spirits may grow with the understanding that the final objective being that we have perfected ourselves to the experiential point that man no longer needs to make this transitional passage through this sphere. The spirit of man is eternal. Therefore, nothing happens on this earth plane that has not been predestined from higher realms of existence for our spiritual benefit.
Amazing. That's amazing. I just want to say, if you just tuned in, you're listening to the Cherilyn Lee Health Show with your host, Dr. Cherilyn Lee, and my guest today, Penny Rich. Numerical psychology is our topic. What a wonderful topic, and I'm hoping that this will help answer some questions of people. We will be giving some examples as we go through the show, and if you have any questions, please call us at 310 928 7733. Or you can email us if you have a question at enterlightradio. That's INNER, light, LIGHT, radio at yahoo.com. So just sit back, and this is a show for you to obtain some other different knowledge. I know we talk about a lot of different things on this show here, but this is here for you to just kind of sit back and kind of have fun with it today and learn more about yourself. And again, I want to thank you, Penny, Miss Rich.
You're so welcome. It's my pleasure. The name, a person's name, is very, very important. The name determines exactly what it signifies in order to establish what you are held responsible for on this planet. Your strengths and weaknesses are discovered in the value and increments of your name and corresponding numbers, reduced to a final digit, 1 to 9, to determine what part of your life you happen to be passing through. And that identifies your karmic obligations and every experience and challenge that you're here to meet.
So let's just take an example of a name, because we are in the air and this is live, and we would definitely don't want people to call in and give their name and birth date because that's a bit too much information. So we're going to kind of let's just come up with an example to give a person a sample of what they would expect if they were to call you to have a session with you.
Right. They would first give me their first, middle, and last name exactly as it is spelled, along with a date of birth. And those numbers in the name, they start out by providing the urge of your soul. What motivates you? The second half revolves around how you personally feel about yourself. What are you all about? And only you know that. And so we compile those three phases and we get a total expression. That total expression is how others see you. Now your birth date, let's say February the 26th, let's say 1939, that is a 5. That particular person is on a life path of changes and adjustments and moving about and traveling, anything that expresses a desire to be gone.
So you're totally going to total the birth date, and this is say if it's 19, if a person is born in 1950, so it's the birth date, the year, the month, and you total everything up, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay,
That
so
number will give me one of 9 different life paths. 2 additional life paths are created by a person who is superhuman or angelic or profound in his experiences. Those are master numbers. So, for example, if you were on a 1 life path, you are here to be a strong individual, to stand on your own 2 feet, to appreciate your individuality and make that your expression. 2, and I won't go through all of them, 2 relates to patience. Are you a patient person? Are you being given a lot of experiences that will make you wait for a bus or wait in a line or wait at the store? Everything will give you an opportunity to be more patient, to be tactful and talk to people without hurting their feelings. and to finish the projects that you start. Some of us will start reading a book today and grab another book next week and start a project and not finish it, or a puzzle that just lies on the table. It's not finished. So your life will trend toward that, being a person who just doesn't finish things, and that's the 2 karma. Then we have self-expression, we have labor, freedom and change, making adjustments and responsibilities, having faith, 7. If you're missing a 7 in your name, then that would be the fact that you have a fear of living. You don't even have faith in God to believe that whatever it is that you ask Him for, He's going to present it to you. However, if you find that you have an overdue gas bill and the gas man's knocking at your door, you're not going to say, let me grab some water, let me fill the bathtub with hot. You're not going to say anything, but I know he's not coming to turn off my gas. The man will knock on the door. Ask me if I have $53.32. No. Then I'm sorry, ma'am, I'm going to have to go around and turn off your gas. But in the meantime, you have time to get, he said, you are lucky. He says, I don't even have time to go turn your gas off. Get that money in. It's having faith. That is having profound faith.
Yes. Yeah. And I've seen that happen in more cases than one. So
Mm-hmm.
tell us about a 3. I think you did a little bit. You did
A
a 5.
3 would be self-expression, creative expression. If you were missing your 3 in your name, you would have had to write a book, become an artist, dance, sing, write music, do something creative, even if it's planting a garden. That'll come up with beautiful flowers that you and God created, or the God within you created from His seed.
Okay. Quite interesting.
Pardon me. You ask about incarnation. To explain further on that,
Please.
incarnation is the foundation through which our earthly education is founded. And this theory, which this author holds as the truth, is founded on you can't leave here, you can't just get here without having left. And since we all have the same Spirit of God within us, each being a little fragment of that special force, love force of God, then it is imperative that we respond to the obligations that are found in our incarnate new name.
And I'm so glad that you explained the difference between reincarnation and incarnation. I'm so
Mm-hmm.
glad you explained that because I have, you have certain people from certain walks of life and backgrounds who don't believe in. So I'm so
Mm-hmm.
glad that you had a chance to explain that. And I'm going to ask you one more time to kind of just put a little bit more emphasis on that because a lot of people get kind of turned off when they
Yes,
hear that.
yes. Some people tell me, well, if it's not in the Bible, I don't want to hear about it. Well, that's okay, because that means that you, or your spirit, has not elevated itself to receive the perfection of God that you are. If I ask you, are you perfect? Oh, you'll say, oh, no, 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 only God is perfect. Well, are you not a fragment of God? Are you not God incarnate? So incarnation is the foundation through which our earthly education is founded. Reincarnation is an animal species similar to an amoeba who keeps coming back as an amoeba. The human force comes back as a person who has endowed themselves with education in the past. They already know how to speak 2 or 3 languages. If they went to school, they'd understand, God, this is easy. No, it's not easy. You've been French. So everything that is in your name relates to what you're supposed to be doing, and it is God-based. I have nothing to do with anything that's occult. It's God-based. Numerology is the science of numbers, the digits that make up our universe. Without numbers, you wouldn't know how old you are, how many toes and fingers you have, what's your birth date.
Mm-hmm.
Even God had 13 disciples.
I'm glad you brought that up because that kind of simplifies things for us too.
Mm-hmm.
That was really a good way to actually bring that into.
And your name actually determines exactly what it signifies in order to establish what you are held responsible for while you're on this planet. Your strengths and weaknesses are discovered in the value and increments of your name, reduced to a final digit to determine what part of your life you happen to be passing through. full of karmic obligations and challenges that you've ignored. So, since there are 9 years to every life cycle, and that's found on your birth record, on your birth date, every 9 years we get a chance to start all over again with very much the same kind of dilemma, and each time it is a lot easier or more difficult to get through based on your knowledge of what letters are missing from your name given at birth. Life is filled with pain and pleasure experiences, and we never have more than we can bear, especially when you know in what phase of your life you're going through. And numerology will tell you exactly what you're doing. It doesn't change, because even if you get married and change your name, it doesn't change.
My. Now, when you say 9 years, how
Hmm.
does that start? From birth
From birth.
or from birth?
From birth. Let's say we put a 5 on your, we call it the wheel of life. If you can kind of visualize a pie with cut in half and then cut into 8 slices, 8 individual, 4 on the top and 4 on the bottom.
Hmm.
Your life, your birth date will fit in one of those categories: 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1. And when your birth date starts in a 3, then it goes from 9 years, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, and 72 years. That's a given. Then if you continue to live, because you've recognized that God is the greatest, the most magnificent force in your life, then you get a chance to start over again to 81, 90 years old, 108 years old, as long as you wish to live.
Mm,
And
okay.
that's found on the wheel of life.
The wheel of life. I've
Hmm.
seen those wheels before when I've been
Many
sitting in front
times.
of you.
I
I
appreciate
certainly have.
how I really appreciate how Kevin Quinn Avery, a master numerologist, explains it. He says that numerology is an advanced offshoot of the melodious rhythm of the mathematical precision that controls all of creation. And that's how I look at it, dealing with the psychology of numbers that helps us all to enhance the evolution of our soul.
And it certainly has been, and I call it a blessing. It has been a
Hmm.
blessing in my life to just sit back and look at everything, as things unravel in our life and we go from our day to day, and just to just really just take a look at yourself. It's
Hmm.
really important to reflect. And we do our meditations, and people do yoga and certain things to kind of relax us. But when you really just look in the mirror and take a look at you, and knowing that this is how things are unraveling for you, it actually alleviates a lot of stress.
You mentioned looking in the mirror. My daughter wrote "Man in the Mirror" for Michael Jackson, and that
I know.
song,
Hmm.
the words of that song depict the choices that we make. And look in the mirror and see yourself for what you're doing. Where are you going with this?
Yes. And when I said that, I forgot all about the song.
I know, I
Isn't that
know.
amazing? Amazing.
It's a household word.
It is. It really is. And we do have to look at ourselves. We
Hmm.
do. And a lot of times people don't. I was at a seminar once and we did an exercise of people just looking into their own eyes. And it's amazing how many people teared up.
Hmm.
We stand in the mirror, comb my hair, get dressed, see if our clothes on properly before we walk out of the door. But to really look at yourself, a lot of people don't do that.
Hmm.
We have a caller. Wonderful callers. Please state your name, where you're calling from, and your question.
Okay, this is Sarah, and I'm calling from Brentwood today.
Okay. Thank you for calling. Your name again? I didn't hear you.
Sarah,
Sarah?
yes.
Thank you so much for calling. You have a question?
I will. Brother Jamal let me know that Penny Rich was on, and I actually know Sister Penny Rich. She did some counseling for me and my girlfriend at the time, and did some readings for me. So I appreciate having her on the show. And
Well, thank you. I remember you.
And it's amazing because Penny and our birthdays are the same.
Yes.
Is that right?
We've been friends for years, and we have the same birthday. Amazing.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's been a long time, so I'm glad to see your sister still out, doing her important work.
Yes. Thank you so much.
And you'll hear more about her very soon. I guess I'm not going to say anything, but I'm so excited for Miss Rich, and she's got a wonderful life. She just have a wonderful, full life, and she will be sharing something, I'm sure, with the world real soon here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's just absolutely wonderful. And I thank you so much for calling in. And I'm glad you had a pleasure of meeting Miss Rich here, because she is a one of a kind and definitely a master numerologist.
Mm-hmm.
I
Well,
really
yeah,
thank you.
indeed. Indeed, it's very important. That's important work, as you guys are saying. That you know, in all of our spiritual journeys, it's important for us to know ourselves, and and numerology and astrology are important means for us to gain that additional insight into really understanding
Yes.
who it is that we are on our spiritual journey. So,
Mm-hmm.
that is her work is to be commended.
And fortunately, so it does not mean that astrology is not important. It's important, but the name that God gives you, I don't care how it's spelled. You might say they left out an S, they left out a T. That precise designation, vibration, calculation of those numbers create the vibrations that identify who you are. Now, you don't have to look like at a calendar for astrology. What kind of day am I having today? This is a lifelong gift. Once you have a numerology profile prepared for yourself, years and years down the line, you can look at that life that life wheel, and say, yeah, I was in the height of my life when I got that job with social services, or whatever you want to do, or when I opened my first store, or when I sold my first book. You're in a cycle that is intended for you to have paid off your karma. And karma is not a punishment. It's a measure by which to correct our weaknesses and strengths and our character in order to be blessed by that which we have recognized through past life experiences, which we have no conscious awareness thereof.
Well stated. Well stated.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. And, a lot of people feel, karma is something negative that's
Mm-hmm.
coming back to bite you. And a lot of times it is stated that way too.
And some people say, oh, don't do my chart because I don't know when the bad part's coming in. There's no bad part. It means if you were going through the top half of that life wheel, just having parties and smoking and drinking and cavorting, just having a great time, forgetting that you're here to get a job, or that you're here to learn how to manage money, or that you're here to learn how to get along better with people, or you have so many humanistic traits that if you didn't have them, for example, I like to give this story. A lady's driving along and she sees a dog get hit by a car. She says, oh, by the way, what are we having for dinner? She didn't say, oh, my God, that dog, let's see if we can do something to help him. Those are humanistic traits. That
Yes.
without a 9 in your name, you have to start working on how to being more compassionate and more merciful to other people and treat them the way you want to be treated.
That's interesting. I see that in my practice with patients sometime. They will do that.
Mm-hmm.
And you will wonder what brought you to where you are, what's your
Exactly.
so-called disease label.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times they're just not in tune that way.
Well, you
Uh,
don't want to go through the best part of your life in the top part of the wheel, and then from 19 years old through 40-something, you're living the most challenging part of your life, and so you decide to settle down. Well, I better get a job. Well, you're going to have a hard time trying to find a job because all the jobs were open between your birth and when you were 21 years old, 28 years old, 27, wherever it falls. So it's important that you understand what you're here to do in order to justify your intentions and making your own judgments for good decisions.
yes. And caller, do you have an input or is something you like to say? I don't want to just leave you out here.
And that's the thing. I mean, I agree, totally with Sister Penny Rich. Um, Indeed, karma is a universal law. She, very astutely pointed out. And, we're all here in each of our incarnations to learn a lesson.
You got it.
Most definitely. Well,
If
I'm
we
so
don't
happy.
learn what's to learn, we'll be back.
Oh, yeah, you get a chance to come back if you want to. And when you do come back, if you've paid attention to all of your karma and paid all your bills, and since God has asked us to be ye perfect as he is perfect, it doesn't mean that you can pour water into a thimble standing 3 feet over the thimble. It only means that you have 5 fingers, nose, mouth, brain, senses, all the things that God, we were made in the image of. So therefore, you are to respect those things that create your personality and your character.
Yes. And if we actually created our bodies, there's certain foods we wouldn't put in it.
That's
As
true.
we have had several shows prior to mine that dealt with food. If you
Mhm.
really respect your body, it's certain things, and you know for a fact it's going to cause deterioration, you're not going
Mhm.
to continue to put these foods in your body and causing your body harm.
Mhm.
So we have to learn to respect our body, and God made us wonderfully, and to have every organ part. I mean, we don't even have to think about the heart beating and breathing. Those
Right.
things happen automatically. So you
Mhm.
want to make sure that you do the things to keep you with the best health and best quality of life as possible.
Mhm. Yes.
Mm.
Can't hear you.
Okay. Do you have any other questions?
No other questions?
Comment?
No, I'm in total agreement with everything that's been said. And, again, I do look forward to the work that Penny's going to be doing, and, what wisdom that she has to share with the community, because it's definitely needed.
Mhm.
Wonderful. Thank you
Okay.
so much. And I really appreciate you calling in, and thank you so much for listening. And remember, we're here every Wednesday, 11 to 12:30 Pacific Standard Time.
Indeed.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. We have a question from the internet, actually from Robin on Facebook. She wants to know, can you tell me something regarding these two birthdays? 12/26, 1960 and 7/11/1970.
Okay. You go ahead and hold a conversation while I figure this up real fast. 87891 and 6 and 2 is 8. 6, 7, 8, 9, 9, 1. Now, ironically enough, both of these dates add up to 1998. 1988 is the total, and it happens to be for both of these birthdays, which is very interesting. It means that this person or these people are actually living sons of God or daughters of radiance.
Wow.
Nines in the life path of 9, being sons of God, like Obama, like Congresswoman Watson, all of these are 9s. They're here to serve the people. They're not here necessarily to have a life of their own. Fortunately, our president came with the job that he needed to have a wife and the kids.
Hmm.
The congressperson never got married, wrote tons and tons of legislation bills and commitments that we live by today. For example, the lane on the freeway, that's the carpool lane. That was initiated by Congresswoman Watson.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Her whole life is to deal with people and basically almost not have a life of your own unless the situation needs it, warrants it.
Okay. So, what about separately? 12/26, 1960, and I know I gave you 7/11/1970. That's
Hmm.
together. So, what about separately?
Separately, they're both 1988, 1998, 1998 twice. The, 789. I'm sorry, 7, 8, 7, 8, 9,
I'll let
1, and
you
then
answer
6 and
that. We
8,
do have a caller while you're
9,
doing that.
9, 1.
Um,
That's a 9. They're both 9s, Dr. Lee. They're both
okay.
9s, and they're both sons of gods or daughters of radiance. And they also have, being a 9, have they're surrounded by this aura that God has preserved them with. They'll never be bitten by killer bees, stung, lightning will never strike them, they'll never go down in a flood. Anything that's a natural catastrophe will not engulf the lives of these people who are here to serve mankind for God.
Oh, my.
Pretty
Well,
good.
I hope that answered your question, Robin, and thank you so much for your question, for sending us a wonderful message here on Skype. And we have another caller.
Good.
Caller, can you state your name and where you're calling from? And thank you so much in advance for calling.
Yes. My name is Yasmin, and I'm calling from Houston, Texas.
Thank you so much for calling. And your question?
Well, in using the numerology, do you use the letters of the person's name, original name? Say, for instance, somebody had the name legally changed. Use the original name at birth, right?
Yes, that name. Go ahead.
Excuse me.
Go ahead, please.
And do you use also the birth date together with the name, or can you do it separately?
You do it as if you're writing in 3 blocks. The first 2 blocks, the second 2 blocks, and the third or 4 blocks. In other words, your month 02, your birth date 26, your year 1960. So all of those are added up, and when you add them up, you break them down to the finest or the last digit. Those 1988 takes away 9. This is 9. It's the 9. It produces a 9, no matter how you count it. 36, 45, 54. It all comes up to 9.
Okay.
And the question is too: is the name included with the birth date? Right? Yeah. So
right.
The name is included with the original name given at birth. Full original name given at birth and birth date.
Okay. So you combine the 2 sets of figures together.
That is correct.
Right.
yes.
Okay.
And let me make a correction, please, if you will. When I do this too fast, I always go over it. The person with the birth date of 12/26/1960, that's 1998. That is reduced to a 9. Then the 1988 is actually reduced to an 8. But when you calculate all of those numbers, you'll get a 22. It's never, always, ever an 8. It breaks down. When it can be broken down, you'll find the 22 in there. A 22-22 life path still reduces down to 22, which is a master life path. That person can do whatever she or he wants to do in life and become very proficient at it because it's a number of perfection. It's a master number. So that's my correction on those 2 birthdays, 1998 and 1988. That difference makes 1 a 9 and 1 an 8.
Okay, wonderful. And at the end of the show, I'm sorry. At the end of the show, we will be giving out the information for Penny Rich in case you would like to contact her personally to go through your full chart. She will be available for that. We will be giving out that information at the end of the show. I want to thank you so much for calling and asking your questions. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
And
Bye-bye.
tune in with us next week, too. We have another caller. Caller, please state your name and where you're calling from.
Hi, my name is Kayla, and I'm calling from the Antelope Valley.
Thank you so much for calling, Kayla.
Kayla. Okay.
My pleasure. I heard you say that the birth date as well as the name is significant, but what about the time of birth?
No, we don't count time.
The chart?
We don't count time because by the time you've made delivery and you're cleaning the baby up and walking it over to the scale and giving it a bath and weighing it, that might be 15 minutes later. So that birth date is not important to determining what you are here to achieve.
Okay. I'm curious about some dates, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be 9/20/72. It'd be September 20th, 1972.
1972. Okay. 7, 8, 9, 10, 01, 9, 10, 1, 2. That's a 3. That person should be writing, singing, dancing, planting flowers, growing musically inclined artists, anything that's creative in expression. Sewing, cooking, being a chef, those are all creative expression.
Okay.
And let me add to that. Let me add to that. For example, if you're working for City Hall and you're in the Department of Building and Safety, well, you're still being creative in as much as you're defining laws and rules that create an expression. No, you have another question. Mm-hmm.
What about February 8th, 1978?
1978?
Correct.
Okay, February the 2nd, 1978, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 2, 1, 8, 9, 1. That's a 9. That's 11. The 11 is also a master number. 11s and 22s are masters. So this person is like training to master his skills. The 22 is already more spiritually inclined, whereas the 11 is more materialistic.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Very interesting. Are
It
there
certainly
other
is.
factors? It really is. Are there other factors that determine one's destiny through numerology?
Yes, if you are not following your life path. If your life path is a 3 and you're supposed to be writing and being creative, if you decide to be a homeless person pushing a basket, there's nothing very creative about that, except it shows a lack of responsibility, so therefore you're not being responsible for the fact that you're supposed to be being an artist, singer. Take the chance. Go out there. Go knock on the doors wherever your music is supposed to be. Don't just say, well, I'll wait. Because the music that you wrote today might not be valuable to you until 3 or 4 years from now. But you already have the music written. They didn't say, Kayla, would you write us a song? Kayla already has 3 songs on whatever the subject is. So you're prepared. You go in and you get the contract. Being prepared.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I would like to contact you for a more in-depth analysis.
Listen to the end of the show, and they're going to give my phone number, and I will be happy to assist you.
Awesome. And you're Miss Penny Rich, correct?
Yes, I'm in Los Angeles.
And I did see on the flyer that was emailed to me that you're also an author. Is there a book that I can reference that you've written?
Well, thank you for asking. I have 3 books on the market. The first one is Children, O Karma 2 by Penny Rich. The second is a book on my other focused career option, which is being a holistic practitioner, dealing with ear candling. I clean ears with that cone and fire on the end. It's very exciting, but it draws out imperfections of anything that has to do with an ENT. It satisfies, because I'm going to take out dirt and any crustaceans that are left in the ear, since the ear has no process of elimination. Then ear candling is an ancient art that uses an ear cone or candle to draw out, and you'll get to see what these imperfections are: dust, excess earwax, mold, anything that's in your ear is still in your ear from birth, just like your mother's embryonic fluids. The doctor cleans your nose and mouth, but he doesn't Q-tip your ears. So since the ear has no process of elimination, then those things are going to remain in the ear. So the third book is my most favorite. It's called Archangel of the Earth Realm, and entertaining angels unaware, like we all do. It's the story of an archangel, a living person on this earth who was discovered through numbers, being a 22 master, not only in name, it also deals with the life path. So this person, being a 22 at birth, was discovered that she was an archangel who did a lot of things for a lot of people and ended up with the most profound blessings of every mission she was sent on to help someone was rewarded by her final reward, which was meeting the right man and being happy ever after, if you will. All based on how well that person respected God's wish for her to get that person in your life and help him find a job and change his life. I've changed lives, and that's only through God. I just don't go around changing lives. God sends me the people to help. And in helping them, their lives definitely do change because they realize, oh, yeah, I haven't had a job in 2 years. And I don't have any money. Well, you're not going to have any money if you don't have a job. And if you were wealthy in another life, you were born lazy, you never worked, but you had a lot of money. So you might come back with a lack of money management skills because that money was not predicated on you working. You can't just be given the lottery and expect it to last and fulfill your every dream, because most people who win the lottery, everybody's not going to win the lottery, by the way, but those who do win the lottery, the first thing they've got to think about is, what was the source of this money? God. So you're going to take that 10%, not give it to the church necessarily, if you will. Suppose you had $250,000 lottery ticket. You've got $25,000. You're not going to hand it to Reverend whatever his name might be. He'll come back next Sunday with a brand new car. Why? Because you gave him $25,000 in cash. He said, praise the Lord, and he went out and blessed himself with a car instead of taking that money and feeding the poor, putting a new roof on the church, getting new choir robes, everything that church needs, water and power, electricity, gas, phone, all of those are bills that churches have. So, you being a person lacking the money management skills that you were supposed to be born with, having wasted or blown all of your money in another life, when you do get that money, and God will give you that money because you have to learn money management as one of the 9 things that this life offers. So you take that money and you take that $25,000 and find out that the church indeed needs a new roof. Guess what? You sign the check, and you can spend as much as $25,000. The next $25,000 is yours. It does not mean that you are going to take that $25,000 and go buy this cute little car for $24,999. That is a lack of money management skills. How about putting $2,000 or $3,000 down and taking your little $56 a month car note? That way you will learn how to manage money or learn how to walk.
Very good.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So I'll look into those 3. I really appreciate your in-depth response. I have a final birth date I'm curious about, if you don't mind.
Not at all.
It's September 8th, 2001.
Okay, September 9.
And we have someone on hold. If you can please be patient and hold on.
So it's 9 what again, Kayla?
It's September 8th, 2001.
2001, 2001. All right. 9/8/2001. Okay, let's see what we have here. 8, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That's the 11. That person is in control of her destiny in as much as she can do whatever she wants to do, or he can do whatever that person wants to do and be successful at it through focus and manifestation. When you desire something, you really desire, you can't ask God to help me win the lottery. No. You have to have a purpose, number 1, for that money. Secondly, and I almost forgot my point here, Kayla, and excuse me because I have. What was your question?
It's okay. You know what? You've been more than helpful, and I really appreciate your feedback. I know that there's another caller. I'm going to contact you personally because I would like to get a more in-depth.
Well, I think we just lost a caller, so I hope she calls back. But we just lost a caller. While you're on the phone, Kayla, I just want to know 2/10/2013.
2/10/2013 5202 56789. Son of God or daughter of light. That's a 9 life path, a person who has to serve others and try to get a life of their own.
I know.
We're laughing for a reason.
It's very effective. It's very effective. Numbers are exciting. Numbers are interesting and no one should fear them. No one should say it's a cult or it's a fad or whatever. Numbers have been around since the beginning of time. Even those first years being 52 BC, which is a 7. So numbers are vital to, and it's important that people not fear the science of numbers. It's a science. It's a
Yes, it
science.
is. What
It's not anything, and I don't know. Some people ask me, well, we all have the same numbers. Well, you don't have the same life experiences, and the way you see things are not always the way other people see them.
you
can
don't have
see
the same name. You don't have the
right,
same numbing.
same
Yeah, you
accident that
must.
you saw, except you were to the left of it, and the other person was to the right.
Now we have another caller. Caller, can you state your name and where you're calling from? And thank you in advance for calling.
Hello. Yes, I'm
Yes.
calling from Houston.
Yes. Thank you. What is your
Yes,
name?
and I have Ashira.
Shira. Thank you so much, Shira.
Ashira,
Uh,
Ashira.
Shira. Thank you
Okay.
so much for
Yes,
calling.
yes, yes,
Beautiful
yes.
name.
I have a birthday. Thank you, thank you. I have a birthday that I'm interested in.
Okay.
Yes.
It's my birthday. It's 4/12/71.
1971. 4, 5,
Yes.
6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 8, 8, 8, 7. You are here to have more faith in God and stop worrying about stuff. You must not worry about anything. You worry too much about stuff that's not important. When you have faith in God, unwavering, I asked God for that $52 this morning, and I haven't got it yet. So I'll call Paul. Paul, do you happen to have $52 till next week? Then God says to you, I thought you called me to help. You've got to have the help all the way for the time that money's going to come or your deadline that you have to meet. Just know that God's not going to say, goody, 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 I fooled you, I don't have it. No, God's going to answer that prayer if you believe that that prayer went out in good faith with good intentions. But you don't worry about it afterwards. You put your prayer out there and let it go.
Well, you know what? It's very interesting that you would say that because just last week I had a situation similar to that, and I made up my mind that I wouldn't worry about it, and I did, and everything was taken care of.
What a
Good.
blessing. What a
So maybe I'm
blessing.
on that path. Yeah,
Yes.
seriously. Yeah, I was
And
like, oh, my God.
and you can see the change. You can see the changes.
Oh, yeah.
Because after they happen, you can say, God, that was great.
Right.
But you forgot to say, thank you, Father. Oh,
I did. No, I said it.
Say it.
I
Say
said
it.
it. I said it.
And when you want something from God, you don't beg Him for it. You say, "Thank you, God, for my new car. Thank you, God, for my new man." And women ask me all the time, "Will I get married?" I don't know. Do you want someone to be exactly like you? Good. If not, do you want that person because he's opposite of you and you know you're not going to get along and eventually leads to divorce because there's always some kind of discrepancy? So what you put your faith in actually becomes reality when you manifest it. I teach students that when they want to be a lawyer and they're living in poverty-stricken conditions, you have to see yourself walking across that stage and getting your diploma. It
You
doesn't
certainly
matter
do.
how you got there. You're going
Yes.
to get there if you have faith. God, I'm going to Santa Monica College, and I'm going to start studying law because 3 years from now, I'm going to have my office over there on Wilshire.
That's right.
Exactly. You have to see it, believe
Manifestation.
it.
Visualize it.
Yes, you
Visualize.
do.
I visualize it, and I just ask for it. I visualize it. I thank God for it. So I can make it happen. It's going to happen. It is happening as I speak.
Absolutely.
And I pray in the now.
It's
I stop
wonderful.
praying like, oh, please make this happen one day. No, I pray in the now. It's happening right now. And that's what really helped and changed a lot of circumstances in my life once I started praying in the now and believing that it's being done as I speak. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, if you really believe in God, then He already know what you need. So stop begging and crying and worrying and praying.
Right.
Over praying more than once on it.
Right.
You
You
know,
need to
I
just
put it
ask
out in the
one
universe
side,
and that's it.
one time. Just ask.
Mhm.
It's not like a child keep asking the mommy, "Oh, can I have the cookies? Can I have the cookies? Can I have the cookies?" You just, or whatever. You ask one time, and the rest
Right.
is you be grateful. We have a family member right now who is it's been quite ill, and everybody's prayed. And I said, when you go in, I just go in now and just give God the glory for the healing. And I am so grateful to the universe for just surrounding his body with protection and healing him. And day by day, he's getting better and better.
It
You
has to
know.
Better
begin
and
with
better.
Him. It has to begin with Him. And when you say, "How are you today?" you shouldn't answer with, "Oh, I don't know, I'll get by," or "God willing, I'll live." What are they? I'm fine. I don't care if your butt is aching. You're fine, because that's putting in the universe that yes, I accept wellness. I accept wellness.
Yes.
So when you have a desire, let's say you have a desire for a house and a car and kids, so get a newspaper, get a book, and cut out a picture of a family, cut out a picture of a car, cut out a picture of a house. It doesn't mean that that's the house you're going to get. You're going to get a 3-bedroom house that you asked for. So when you wake up in the morning and you look at those pictures, that stimulates in your mind. Thank you, God. I really look forward to that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate your call. We do have another caller who has called back and been very, very patient. But caller, I do, thank you so much for your call, and I hope this was helpful. And tune in next Wednesday, 11:30 to 12:30. I'm sorry, 11 to 12:30 Pacific Standard Time to the Cherilyn Lee Health Show. This show, if you want to share it with someone, it would be you can go to the Cherilyn Lee Health Show YouTube channel, and it will be archived there. So if you want to share this with your friends, it will be posted there tomorrow.
And to answer that other question, the third book I have is called The Ear Candler's Manual, and it teaches you exactly how to do the ear candling treatment. It's being done so incorrectly now with a pie pan or a plate over your ear with a cone sticking in.
Well, we're going to get more to that because we have a caller who's been waiting patiently.
Right.
Caller, please state your name and where you're calling from, please.
Yes, my name is Devonay Unleashed. I'm calling from Los Angeles, California, and I've been listening to the show for about 30 minutes or more, and it's so very good to hear all of the different topics that you're touching, especially the numbers. I have a couple of questions I would like to ask you. How would you find out what is your number? How do you find that out?
You'll find that out by using the Pythagorean system of numbers, where he equates the 1 as an A, 2B, 3C, 4D, etc. Then when you get up to the 9th letter, you start over again, and that would be the STUV, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
So when you get those numbers down, you line them up over the name and chart them. That would be giving their totals. And when you get 3 totals, the first one being soul motivation, or your motivation, the soul urge. The second being your quiet self, how only you know yourself, and the third being a total expression of all of those.
Now, so is this affiliated with your birth date?
Your birth date actually represents your life path.
Okay.
So if you have a name, you have a birth date as to determine what are your career opportunities. What are you really supposed to be doing? Suppose you were a janitor when you're supposed to be an artist.
Mm-hmm.
How creative can you be sweeping a floor, but to sweep the floor for the benefit of someone else's enjoyment?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a self-expression that you do for yourself to make your own self more enhanced with the perfection of God.
That's very interesting. And also I'd like to add to the young lady that just called in about having faith in God. It's just such an awesome, and I call it a tool, because a lot of people can't tap into faith.
No, they can't.
And they have a problem with it only because they're being blocked by their own mental mind. But faith is such a awesome tool to use. And I've learned it through my journey that in praying, because we do, they say pray and ask for what you want. But in my journey with God, I've learned to praise Him instead of asking for what I need.
Absolutely, dear.
Gratitude.
Yes, because we know that God has already walked ahead of us to handle whatever situations are in our lives. So I just like to say that being a true lover of God, that if you really want results, you have to let go and let God and not beg for what you want, and just praise Him, because He knows what you need and what you want in your life.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the other question I have, ladies, doctors, is I'm very, very interested, doctor, in your book about ears. I have problems with my ears. It's been handed down from generation to generation, but
I'm going to suggest that you wait till the end of the show and get information where you can find me, and I think Dr. Lee is going to talk a little bit more about ear candling.
Absolutely.
Well, you know what I'm going to do, Devonay Unleashed, just as it's beyond family. Okay, so I'm going to make sure, Penny, I'm going to bring her to you for ear coning.
Great.
How about that,
Thank
Miss
you
Great.
so much. What a very blessed thing. And you ladies have a very blessed day and highly favored and just keep living.
Thank you, Debonair.
You're so welcome.
Thank you so much for
Bye-bye.
calling. Everybody tune into her show uh, almost an hour and a half from now. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We've covered a lot of territory this
Yes,
morning,
we
Miss
have.
Penny Rich, and you sound so relaxed. You must have been doing some deep breathing here too.
No, I just said, God, let's do this. And when you do
And you
that,
did
I
it.
mean, what can go wrong?
Nothing, nothing.
You'll find that when you make a mistake or say a lot of ahs, that you're not concentrating on your focus.
Right. And we do have another caller.
Hmm.
Caller, please state your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Aja. I'm in Houston, Texas.
Aja again. Okay. And you have a question?
Yes, I wondered if you could just do my birthday, July 23rd, 1951.
6/23/1951.
July 23rd.
July 7.
July.
All right. Yes, 7. 11, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 9, 9, 1. You are a very independent type of person. You like to come and go when you get ready and not have anybody say where you're going. You're individualistic in knowing that what you go at by yourself, you don't necessarily need a partner. Just as well as this independence on a negative side, everything has a equal side. It would make you jealous, overly concerned about yourself, unconcerned about other people, but being, by the same token, living a life that you'll treat others the way you wish to be treated under the number of a 1, which is independence and individuality.
Okay, that's about right.
That's pretty powerful.
Okay.
My goodness.
Yeah, that's right on the head.
Okay,
Okay.
Angela.
Okay.
Well, this is why
That's
she's known as the master numerologist,
Yes.
Penny Rich.
yes. I mean, and so quickly you summed it up. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll have to work on the negative side though, because that is very true.
Well, you can't be jealous unless you're insecure. You
right.
don't get jealous over petty stuff, because suppose someone is really flirting with your husband or your boyfriend. That doesn't matter. Just grab him by the arm and stand there with him. Let her know that you're not by yourself. But don't get jealous. Don't let her know. I don't want you talking to him. Whatever you're going to say, don't do that. It makes yourself look little and insecure.
All right. It must be jealousy in some other areas, because I've never had a problem. What? Well. Yeah. Well, you're right. You're right. I do recall something where I was jealous. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Angela. Thanks for calling, dear.
Thank you so much for calling, and let's just work on ourselves. I think it's time, Miss Rich, that we will give out your information. We have about 20 minutes or so to go for the show, maybe a little less, but let's go ahead and give out the information now. So if a person want to call you for a private numerology chart, because you're very in depth with your charts. It isn't what we're doing today. It's about anywhere from 20 pages, right?
Anywhere from 10 to 15.
Okay.
Because everybody doesn't have 4 or 5 karmic obligations that I have to report.
That's so true.
Some people might not have a middle name, so that cuts off the time. So everything that I tell you, it's personified in a book called Your Destiny in Numbers. And so when you call and request Your Destiny in Numbers, that book is $65, but a reading is $20. But if you purchase one of my books that I can make sure you get, you just pay me $20 for the book and you get a free reading.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? How special. So let's give out your information so people can contact you.
I'm Penny Rich, Master Numerologist. My phone number for the cell is 323-481-9000. 807. The other number is a landline, 323-299-9406. And by the way, numbers don't equate to doorknobs, houses, dresses, license plates. It's only deals specifically when you're serious about it. It deals with the name, because a couch and a chair or new this or that cannot profess to ownership of God's love. So it relates to a person's name only and birth date.
Wonderful. And I just want to say, if you want to share the show with someone, you can go to the Cherilyn Lee Health Show. The Cherilyn Lee Health Show. Why am I forgetting? The Cherilyn Lee Health Show, and go to the YouTube page, and we're there. Or you can go to Dr. Cherilyn Lee. If you have any questions you want to leave, Dr. Cherilyn Lee at yahoo.com. If you have any comments, or you have topics that you'd like for me to address on the show, or different people, please don't hesitate to go and email us at drleefmradio@yahoo.com. And I really do appreciate it. And Miss Rich, you have been absolutely wonderful. And
well,
again,
Dr. Lee, before I let you go as well, let me give out my email address.
Okay.
It's Rich, R-I-C-H, Penny, P-E-N-N-Y, 22, I'm an archangel, at yahoo.com. So that's richpenny22 at yahoo.com.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I just want to say that, again, the Cherilyn Lee Health Show .fm is where you can go. If you're listening from there, or you're listening from Interlight Radio, go to the YouTube channel, and all the shows are archived right there. The Cherilyn Lee Health Show .fm, and go to the YouTube channel, and you can find all of our shows. Please,
and she's saying F
share
as
this.
in Frank, FM, radio, FM.
Yes. So it isn't .com, it's .fm, as in Frank Mary.
Yes, Frank Mary.
Yes. I just want to ask, I think we have about a couple of minutes here. Karmic, sometimes people think they're punished for their past karmic situations. I think we kind of hit on this a little bit, but I want to make sure we clarify that about karmic punishments.
Okay. No, karma is not a punishment. It's a measure by which to correct our weaknesses and strengthen our character in order to be blessed by that which we have recognized through past life experiences, which we have no conscious awareness thereof. So the name that you have, Sally Mae Brown, for example, is representing in the little box of karmic obligations, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, represents what you have done and what you are missing. If there are no A's in your name, then you'll be missing one. You'll be missing an opportunity to learn how to be individualistic, more independent, more on your own, not leaving others' experiences up to you to help settle and solve. So there's no punishment in karma. And karmas are recognized, like as I have stipulated, within the 9 lessons required to be processed through your own realm of experiences. A lesson does not even become karmic until we have failed to learn it in our past life. Your current name reveals what you returned in order to achieve that spiritual perfection in which God taught. There is only one Spirit and one God to which we are all spiritually connected to this wonderful love God force.
Wonderful. Some people have asked, how often should they have a chart done?
Good question. You only need one, because you only have one name that you were given at birth. Now, Let's say you were adopted, and you don't know your original name, but they gave it to you the day you were born, and your new parents are now Mr. and Mrs. Green. The name that they give you is manifested, will start manifesting within the first 9 minutes, 9 hours, 9 days, 9 years. And by the time you've used it constantly, over and over again, you become that vibration. So if you were adopted, don't worry if you don't know your real name. Use the name that they christened you with, or the name that was given to you.
Okay, so I hope that answers that question.
Mm-hmm.
And, a chart, I think everyone, how will a chart work for me, is another question. But I think everyone should just have this chart done once. So
Yes.
your phone should be ringing off the hook,
Well, don't that be
with people
wonderful?
calling, because everyone, I think, needs to have the chart done since it's only done once in a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause your name is
It
not going
lasts
to
forever.
change and your birthday is not going to change.
And the
And
fun
just
part
see
about
where
that,
you are.
Dr. Lee, excuse me, the fun part about that is that you're looking at your life wheel, and you're seeing that you're started off in the most difficult, challenging phase of your life. You're going to experience having parents that are alcoholics or all kinds of trauma for you to try to get through. You're not going to be addicted just because the parents are. You're going to get to your best part of your life and say, I'm on my own now, and this is the way I'm going to do it. And the universe will help you because you're in the top part of your wheel. There are no good and no bad throughout anyone's life. It's just what they've destined to become, what they do, how they think, what judgment calls they make. There's no good or bad. It's all full of pain or pleasure, and you never get all at one time.
Wonderful. So, if a person, I think we did have a guest, a caller who asked a question about, and they gave a young age for a child.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, a person should have this done for the entire family, especially with children.
Mm-hmm.
So from, as you know, birth, and you're basing this on their birth date,
Name.
uh,
They were given at birth.
the name they were given at birth and their birth date,
Mm-hmm.
to go ahead and get this together for them. And I think everyone should have this done,
Sure they
for
should.
themselves and their children.
Mm-hmm.
It should be done for the whole family just to see. It's and just meditate and stay prayerful around everything. Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people go against the grain and they don't understand why. I met quite a few people when I was in training, that did not want to go into medicine. This
Mm.
one gentleman just wanted to be a chef. I mean, he was good at it too. He would bring food. He was an intern. I was in the PA program at the time, but he just said, "I do not want to be a physician. I do not want to be a physician. I want to be a chef." And he kept going against the grain, and he kept becoming ill. Every
Mm.
time he turned around, he was sick, and because he did not want to do this. But his family, a lot of times, we grow up and say we're going to continue with the family business, or the family wants me to do this, or someone else wants me to do this, and they go against the grain, and they don't live their life for themselves. Well, it
Mm-hmm.
does affect your health.
Mm-hmm.
It will
Well, see, a
affect your health.
person who comes here and is unaware, and most of us are unaware of why the heck we're here. You'll find your archangels in the numbers 11s or 22s as being the person who says, "Why am I here? What am I doing here? I don't belong here." It's true. There's a planetary system where the Father enhances the spirits of those he wishes to send to his planetary systems. And those archangels and angels that are on this planet now have been blessed to survive the circumstances, and as long as they're living their life with the understanding of why they feel so special, it's because of the God within them, then they'll do well. They'll be saved under most severe circumstances. They could also be your parent or a neighbor or friend who tells you, "I'll help you find your keys." Well, your keys probably weren't really lost, but something was going to happen out there that the Spirit of God had you just wait just one more minute. Crash! And then you see, oh my God, if I had left 3 minutes ago. So you have to listen to that voice inside and not question it. Did God really tell me to go look for a car today? Yes. Did you want a car? Yes. Go to the car lot. Pick one out. Walk around it. Tell it how much you love it. Claim it
Mm-hmm.
and bind it. I did that once. No credit, she said. No credit. Not good credit, not bad credit. Because when I was in the occupation of being a personal assistant to a congressperson, that was 7 years of my life. I didn't have credit at all. So therefore, you have to start over. So it's good to know what you're here to do. It's profound to know what you're here to do. It helps you get along with others. It brings your soulmate to you. My biggest thrill is when a woman asks me, when am I going to find Mr. Right? Well, here's a clue. If you turn the key in your front door and open that door and you say, honey, I'm home, at some point you're going to open that door and he's going to say, I'm back here, honey. So you have to envision that. Open that front door. Hi, honey. If you have dinner on Sunday for yourself, put that extra plate there and that extra glass and that extra napkin and say, bon appetit, darling. Or you're going to talk to him at night. Honey, if you were here, so-and-so, you can say anything you want to your husband, as long as it's, or your friend or your partner or whatever, as long as it has love in it. You can't say, I hate the way you leave the toothpaste on the counter. I hate the way you drop the newspaper on the floor. Put your shoes away. You can't do that. You can say, I can see you doing this. I can see you doing that. And it becomes a manifestation of how you want that person to be. And he'll automatically be it. You don't have to say a word.
No, you
don't have to say a word. It's all spirit.
And I have seen that happen in several situations with people, because it's one lady who had a medical condition where she needed someone there, but she always said, I want a loving husband. And this is what she did. She wrote out everything and she just kind of meditated over it. And I told her to take it another step. And when she, with the food and the table and setting the table, but also at night, pray for that person that they have a good sleep, that rest well, that they're in good health. And you say all of that over this person too. And when she met this man, oh my goodness, he was gorgeous. He was so wonderful toward her. I mean, I don't care what would have happened in her life. He was just right there. And it was amazing, the love between the two, how he helped her with her business and set everything up and was just there, and the love and passion he showed for her. And they're still together, and that's been about 20-some years.
Well, you know what unfortunately, what happens when you get this person in your life, the first thing you can say, or that you do say, is, he's too good to be true. That means you're looking for some imperfection that God forgot to put in. You can't do that. You accept him the way he is, and if it's compatible with you and that doesn't bother you that he leaves the cap off the toothpaste, then deal with it. You keep putting the toothpaste away, he'll eventually get, the toothpaste is not still sitting here that I left 3 days ago.
3 days.
Okay, that's a little low. How about 3 hours?
Okay. Oh, but I had a situation with someone who actually would do that, and it just nitpicked every little thing. And the sad thing about it, this person who was married was like 89, and the wife was 65, and she just nitpicked, and finally she ended up having a heart attack.
Well, you know what I realized? The friend that I have now has a habit of leaving the toilet seat down and the lid. So it occurred to me that it's safer and healthier if you put the lid down when you leave the situation. Put the lid down and then dump it. But anyway, it works like that. You think in terms of what you'd like him to do and talk to him while he might be at home and you might be here. Focus on him sleeping. You're going to wake him up and you're going to quietly say, honey, please, don't put the seat down or don't put the seat up or whatever it is the problem is. And he'll realize it. Next morning he'll just come to him, I don't want to leave this seat up. She realizes that it's healthier to leave it down. And I noticed she's been leaving it down too. That's how it works.
Yes. And you be subtle. And communication in relationship is so important.
Very.
But to have that person, years ago I visualized this wonderful, just right after divorce, and I wanted a magical evening, just magical. And I just visualized this whole setup where I was going, the whole 9 yards, and it truly happened. So I've utilized this many times myself and have seen things manifest. So there's a lot of power, and the brain and the mind is very powerful too. Very powerful.
Sometimes a doctor, I'm sorry, dear. Sometimes a doctor, you'll leave the doctor's office and he says you have a lump in your left breast. Well, thank you for telling me, doctor, and on your way home, you're actually telling God that you do not have a lump, you do not accept a lump, that everything is in divine order. And you say that until you forget that you're even saying it. And when you stop verbalizing it, the mind continues, I am well, I am healthy.
Yes.
And believe it. And you go for that second opinion, trust me when I tell you, God has already removed it.
Already removed it. Yes, indeed. But it's good to know, that's why we do early screening too, to know where you are so that you can do that. Because if you never did an early screening, then you would never know what I need to work on right now.
Oh, your treatment is so wonderful. Your treatment designates everything that's wrong with a person on a machine. And you don't have to try to analyze because the machine has already detected it.
Right.
So
And I don't want to cut you off, but we are out of time.
Okay.
I think I have 30 seconds or less.
Oh,
so
okay.
What do you want to say in closing? Just give your email address real quick because we are definitely closing.
Phone number again, 323-481-9007 or richpenny22@yahoo.com. God bless and thank you so much.
And I want to thank you so much, Penny, for being with me today. And as closing, please repeat after me. And thank you so much for your gratitude letters. I am so grateful that I am a magnet for miracles
to happen
and watch them multiply. Have a wonderful and blessed day.
Thank you. God bless you. Bye-bye.